Yeah, from mentors that I've encountered kind of over the years, mentorship is really, it shouldn't be seen as a task. It should be a part of who you are as a leader. And if there are mentors out there that see this as a task, they're not being genuine and they're not really reproducing leaders. And really, truly, when you seek mentors that reproduce other leaders, you're going to see this person where naturally they just enjoy mentorship and it's truly what they believe in and it's a part of who they are as an individual and it's part of their character and it's something not being forced out of them.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a passion to
Hmm.
see that reproduction happen. Um, because the other side of that would be just selfishness of wanting to keep it all to yourself. So absolutely, there's a passion that you can sense in someone who desires to be part of helping others grow, and and that is a must in the expectation of seeking out good mentors. So we're going to change gears here towards since we're as we come to the end of this podcast, and we're going to talk about how do we set. So we found the mentor, we found somebody who kind of meets this basic criteria. So what are some of the things? What are some expectations that we need to set up front for both us and the mentor moving toward it? And these are just a couple. This is not an exhausted list, but these are just a couple of things that we thought that were of value to point out. And the first thing is maintain an ROI agreement. And to go into this a little bit, the idea behind this is understanding that if a mentor is investing in you, there must be an agreement of what is expected in return. Now, any great mentor relationship, the return would be you are taking the knowledge and actually using it to apply it to real life issues that are happening in front of you. Um, Cameron, do you have any thoughts on ROI agreement?
Yeah, ROI is definitely really important. It's it's probably the most important in a mentorship relationship is it's just like I mentioned earlier, it's not a return on investment on just for you, but what is it in for the other person? Um, you know, just one example is, are you calling your mentor when there's a crisis, or is it a real genuine relationship where you're periodically checking in? It could be weekly, it could be bi-weekly, it could be monthly, quarterly. I mean, there are mentors that I'll check in, every couple weeks or so, but then I'll physically fly to them on a
Mm.
quarterly basis just because I see value in that relationship and I want them to see that I value their mentorship. I value who they are and I want them to help me succeed. And oftentimes those little things, it may not, mean so much for you, pay a couple $100 or for a flight to go across the country. But for that person, it means a lot that you value their expertise. And that even makes them want to help you more succeed and more open up more than they would maybe just with a regular mentor because they see that you're hungry. And I think that's really important in these mentor mentee relationships is ask yourself is are you just picking up the phone when you need them, or are you genuinely establishing a genuine continued relationship with that person?
Yeah, I mean, I think um, this is the place where either a mentorship relationship is either very fulfilling for both people involved or often where things go wrong. I know even for me, I haven't really mentored anyone. I mean, at my age, I haven't mentored anyone deeply at this point, but I have had conversations with people who were earlier on in their careers than me. And it is very frustrating to have a conversation with an individual and you provide them with your advice and then they walk away and then you see them again in 2 months, and it's the same problem, and you provide them with the same advice again, and then you see them again in 2 months, and you provide them with the same. So understanding that ROI, and I love the way John Maxwell explains it, is ROI is explained this way. This is how it's best understood is, this is what you told me, this is what I did, this was the result. Did I do it correctly? And can I ask more questions? And if you follow that process with a mentor, they're never going to say no, because they see the fulfillment of, you listened to what they had to say, you took the wisdom, you grew on that wisdom, and you utilized it, and that's enough. That's what mentorship's all about. That's all the growth they need in those moments.
Yeah, and I think one more thing is preparation is really important. And it's probably a bit cliche to say, "Oh, prepare each time when you meet with your mentor." But I think this is something that is really important, is that when we have encounters, whether it's in person, virtual, by phone, whatever it may be, is to have some type of preparation. What are the things you're going to ask? What are the things you want to get out of this? Could be a 5-minute discussion, 10 minutes. I mean, I recall I had a discussion with a mentor of mine last week, and it was just for, I think the phone call was 11 minutes. But because I prepared, I prepared a few points that I needed to put across, and what I wanted to get out of it. I prepared a little bit. It took a little bit of time to prepare, so that once I got on that person's phone call, and this person is real busy. I mean, just like all people are. But I got out what I needed to get out within those 11 minutes. It's because I put in the effort to prepare, so that it's just not, we're bouncing around the bush when we're on the phone, that we're really intentional on what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important, and this is more of a kind of a nuts and bolts thing when you really think about it. But um, you know, depending on the relationships you have, because I have some relationships as far as mentors that are extremely close to me as well, meaning they're I associate, I'm constantly in contact with them. But there's also people like you mentioned, those are the individuals that, they're not as easy to, get access to, but they make themselves available.
Right.
Is to make sure you have everything intentionally streamlined down and ready to go and to the point, and not wait till, don't come onto these calls and have 20 minutes of small talk. That's not the intention of these calls. And the reality is, I felt like I had to, and I've had an opportunity to be on some mentor calls with some very high level people, and you exchange pleasantries and you be polite, and you can do all those things, but they also understand, hey, I'm giving you 15 minutes. Let's get down to brass tacks. Let's get down to what we want to talk about, and not just talk about the weather. So back
And
onto said, go ahead.
I do have one more thing. Sorry. I think also I think it's important to be intentional. Sometimes when we encounter mentors, these might be people at big positions, and we just want to butter them up, right? Um, and I think it's very critical to know what you want. What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to go as your next step? So that mentor can help you in the proper fashion. You don't want to go and say, "Oh, hey, I don't really know what I want to do." You want to be very specific on your intentions, where you want to be in the next year. What do you want to achieve as your next level, next promotion, next company, whatever that might be. So it helps you get the right mentorship that's needed, if that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving through this list of expectations we set for ourselves and for our mentors, we will make each other better. Now, that's pretty self-explanatory. We're all gonna we're here to improve each other. There's gonna be opportunities to learn both ways. Next is, you come ready. Cameron, you've already kind of touched on that. There's nothing worse than getting an opportunity to sit or speak with a mentor and not come prepared with questions or come prepared with with whatever you want to talk about. I know um, I've heard John Maxwell say this many times. He says that people will often spend thousands of dollars to have a few minutes with him, and he's always amazed by the fact that they spend the majority of the time taking pictures and doing what he would say asking for signed books. And he said he's always been amazed to the fact that if he was when he even at his age now, when he gets in front of people that he has that opportunity, he's like, I don't really want a picture, I really don't want a signed book, I want to ask questions, because that's the value in the relationship. And if you get an opportunity to sit in front of those people, be prepared. It's so key. The next one, and I think this is the one that we often forget, is we must improve, not just learn. It's going to be really easy to gather information, to gather knowledge, but there also must be a process of actually improving, taking the knowledge and the wisdom that's been provided to you and actually flipping that into application. Any thoughts there, Cameron?
Sorry, I lost you. What were you talking? You're just on. You must improve, not just learn.
Yeah. Keep
Right.
going.
The application, right. Okay. Yeah, Travis. The application is really important. It's good to take in all this knowledge, but if you don't apply it or you don't challenge yourself into getting to the next level, you are not. The mentorship doesn't work, and you might as well not receive any mentorship from anyone. And sometimes it can be difficult to apply what you're learning, but just know, you've developed this sense of trust with your mentor, and they're guiding you in the right direction. And it's up to you to make that choice, to make that change, or take that risk. And that will definitely help. You might fail, but you'll learn. And I think that's the key, is don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving right along, is we must understand that we must earn our mentor's time. So this simply means that we must understand that each time we meet with our mentor, we're earning their time, which means we're providing them with a return. We have to come back with results that allows us to earn more time, with our mentor. Moving to the next one as we kind of wrap up is, we must learn to pay it forward, understanding that when we mentor, we get mentored, we need to turn around and be mentoring others. It's very clear understanding of what that is. And finally, I think that no great mentoring relationship happens without the willingness to have crucial conversations. There has to be an agreement that the person who's mentoring you has permission and has the ability to speak into your life, even when it's not necessarily going to be positive. Maybe it's going to be a little bit, potentially a little bit of a risk, or you may not really take it that well. And your job as the mentee is to agree to not to overreact in those situations, understanding that we're going to have crucial conversations, we're going to have hard conversations, and our job is to take on the role of a listener and to absorb what we're hearing, not react necessarily to what we're hearing.
Yeah, going back to your point on mentoring others, I think that's a real good way of paying it forward and giving back. There's a lot of people that have poured into us. I know for Travis and myself, there are a lot of people pouring into us, spending hours and hours, you know, just pouring their time and giving their time to mentor us. And I think it's important to, as leaders, is to give back that time. There's a lot of people that put time in us, and it's very important to continue to mentor others and develop and bring others along you, along your journey, and share your mistakes and failures and lessons learned.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we wrap up, I just want to encourage you as you're seeking out people in life. Uh, I don't think there's anyone in life that you'll meet in life that is successful at any level that has not been mentored at some level by another individual, that has not been poured into by, it may even just be a parent or a grandparent that would be a playing a mentor role. But we need other people in our lives to speak into our lives, and we need to be very careful, especially in a day and age where there's a lot of deceivers and a lot of misinformation out there, that we take our time and get to know people before we put our trust into these mentorship relationships by asking these three questions that we talked about today on the podcast. So, Cameron, final thoughts?
No, I think the value of mentor and mentee relationship is very critical to any leader's journey and career growth. I don't think you'll be able to do it without having mentors surrounded, you surrounded by mentors. So I think definitely seek mentorship. If you don't have a mentor, go find one. Um, and it's really good to have a group of mentors rather than just one mentor. It allows you to obtain different perspectives.
Mhm.
Not every person, you're not going to learn. You're going to take the best out of your mentors and make it your own with their perspective. So and I think that return on investment, it really works both ways. So
Awesome. Well, we thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Leadership Download. If you found this content useful, I ask you to subscribe on whatever platform you are listening on. Comment, like, share, whatever is appropriate. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time, and we will see you guys on the next episode. All right. Hey, guys, and thank you so much for joining us today on the Leadership Download. If you found this content helpful and productive for you, just ask you to share or like, comment, or on whatever platform you're listening on. We are on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, so we are across multiple platforms. But we thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.